for you, that's a bet. And keep you in the know, the information given throughout the show. Take time to listen, tell your friends. If they don't believe it, let them know again. Yeah. Catch the sensation, turn to the new #1 station. Go to your computer and you hear a great show. Cause we on, listen in the afternoon, night in the morning. Playing all the hits, be easy to listen to. Live on direct from FX to you. Homie, we on, shorty, we on. Listen in the afternoon, night in the
BroncoiRadio.com pays tribute to the many great black innovators, game changers, and historical legends that fought to give our generation a better chance for success. Here's another BroncoiRadio.com Black History moment. Garrett A. Morgan blazed the trail for African-American inventors. With only an elementary school education, Garrett Morgan, born in Kentucky on March 4th, 1877, began his career as a sewing machine mechanic. He went on to patent several inventions, including an improved sewing machine and traffic signal, a hair straightening product, and a respiratory device that would later provide the blueprint for World War I gas mask. The inventor died on July 27, 1963 in Cleveland, Ohio. Garrett A. Morgan. This has been another Black History moment. Get more Black History facts by logging on to our website at www.bronco-iradio.com, the student station of Fayetteville State University. BroncoiRadio.com.
It's Monday afternoon.
Heat that beat up. Heat that beat up. Ray Thomas on your radio. Yo, the world famous Ray Thomas Variety Show. Ray Thomas on your radio. Yo, the world famous Ray Thomas Variety Show. If you've been listening to the same old hand-me-down lame-old radio show, check my man Ray Flow. There you go. Bronx for this, Bronx up in this, North Cat, South Cat, where you at? It don't matter, matter of fact, all states, cities, towns, and districts is talking about Ray Thomas. He up on their lips like lipsticks. Lipsticks are clueless. How we do this smoothly, how we walk you through this Q. If you asking who this 2, 4, 6, 8, who do we appreciate? R-A-Y on your R-A-D-I-O. Yo, it's the Ray Thomas V-A-R-I-E-T-Y show. Ray Thomas on your radio. Yo, the world famous Ray Thomas Variety Show. Ray Thomas on your radio. Yo, the world famous Ray Thomas Variety Show.
Yep. Yep. Hey, 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 hey. Yep. 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 It's a remix. Yep. Yep. Everybody's waiting for this. One time, 2 times, 3 times. You know, you're the only one with theme music. You think it's a game, Doc?
I'm trying not to talk during your intro.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to segment number 2 of the program. It's BroncoiRadio.com, where every second of the day an artist is live.
B.O.B.
Yep, the gang's all here. It's me, the heavyweight Ray Thomas. Your video screen right here. Hello, everyone. Hello, global peeps.
Hello, hello.
Let's rewind that music one more time. You like that? You hear that remix?
Select or rewind.
You hear that? That was nice, right? That was nice remix. Also, over there in Zamunda,
the intern Brian Barber.
Yes, indeed. And the birthday celebrating Brian Barber. So we say happy birthday to the birthday boy.
Thank you, thank you.
20 years old.
Yes.
You're almost a man.
I'm so sweet.
Wow.
He's a baby.
You're a young man, but you're almost a man.
Almost.
Brian, don't get any milk on the equipment.
Yeah, no
I'm
Similac.
just kidding, right?
No, you got some Similac over there, Brian?
No drinking in the studio.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're all clear on this.
Need to buy him a bib. That's what I'm going to get you for your birthday, a bib.
No.
I'll get you a bib.
You always say I have, on Tuesdays whenever Stacy's here, he always says I come in with a bib or anything like that, and I'm just ready to eat. I just come in normal. It's fine. I just happen to be here.
Just happened every Tuesday since we started the I Cook
Hello.
segment. He just happens to be here on
It's
Tuesdays
like Monday
now.
is free therapy and Tuesday is free eats. Right?
Exactly. Yep. I'm like,
It should
okay.
have BYOB or BOB. You should
Yeah.
do Bob, a Bob. a Bob onesie.
Oh, man. That is too funny. Yes, indeed. All right. So welcome to the program. On your
Welcome,
video
guys.
screen, it is the one and only Dr. Patrice J. Carter
Hey, guys.
of Breakpoint Coaching Collective. Why did I say Breaking Point? I was naming like
More
a
like
movie.
Breaking Bad.
Breakpoint Coaching Collective.
Thank you.
Okay, you're quite welcome. And this is In Your Face and In Your Ear. For some strange reason, I keep on having this problem with dyslexia.
Really?
Yeah, I keep on putting the name of your segment backwards.
What, in your face and in your ear?
Yeah, but
What
I
do you
say in your ear and in your face. I'm like, man.
Well, technically, it could go either way.
Either way, yeah, but
Since
that's-
we are, something more. We're
Yeah.
not just radio, right?
That's right.
Isn't
We're
that the
both.
slogan?
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah. But the proper name is In Your Face and In Your Ear.
And
Yes,
it's funny
indeed.
because you came up with it.
I know, but that's what I'm
So-
saying. Maybe
came up
it's
with it
old
and
man
you
mode
gave
Yeah,
back.
because we were talking and he said, well, what do you want? And I said, I just want to get in people's face. You know,
Uh-huh.
I just want them to just get it together.
Right.
And then you said in your face and in your ear.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Now I need you to get it together. Slap out of it, right?
Yeah, ding myself out of it. I'm like, man. All right, so you're rocking the new blue frames.
I am.
The spectacles look good
Yes,
on you.
Thank you so much.
I like that blue, though.
Thank you.
You know, I was telling my eye lady, I guess that's what I have to call her, right?
Who's your eye lady?
Her name is Sheila over there at VisionWorks.
Okay.
Glensford's Common.
Okay.
So we always go through glasses in different frames. There are certain colors that I want
Okay.
in my arsenal. So I don't have green. Well, green.
Okay.
Not like this green that I'm rocking today because it's the undertone of green.
Got it.
It's like a double shaded. So
Okay.
and then I want red
Okay.
and I want blue.
Okay.
A blue like your blue.
Nice.
I like
Okay.
that blue.
Thank you.
So I'm coming with.
So I
She's
don't want
like,
to take.
I'm so happy
I
when
don't
he
want to
gets that
throw
blue.
any shade on VisionWorks, but I got these all at Zenny Optical.
Yeah, I know. I've used them before
Zenny
too.
Optical is amazing, and
Yeah,
they have
pretty
all the
cool.
colors that you mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is that?
And you can just take a screenshot of your face, and then the glasses just go over,
Yeah.
so that you can see what they look like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My wife and I, we've done Zenny
Okay.
before. Yeah.
Cool.
But I have a good relationship with Sheila.
Okay. Well,
Vision
carry on.
works.
Well, do you? Then.
Shameless
Okay.
plug. Thank you for your sponsorship.
See- so you ready to get into it?
Yeah, of course.
I'm excited because this
The
Reggie
guy,
is
the
not,
guy with two names is
yeah,
back.
Isaac is not family. I mean, it's
Uh-huh.
not a new guest. He's family. And so, he's here because he's got something really, I feel, just insightful and important to share because, we're always trying to help you to be better and do better here at the Bronco iRadio family. And so today on In Your Face and In Your Ear, I have I call him our resident certified financial
That's
planner.
right.
He's so gracious. Of Stalwart Financial Planning, we have Isaac Reginald Allen.
Yes, indeed.
And he is here today,
RFP in the
to
building.
discuss with us the importance of paying yourself first. And this is huge. Welcome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's great to be back.
Thank you for your graciousness
Oh,
and your
love to be
patience.
back.
He's
Welcome
so
back,
patient.
Isaac.
Yeah, I'm the man with two first names.
Welcome back, Reggie.
The man with a plan. That's how you are when you're wealthy.
And then other people say, hey, he's the man with no last name. All his
'cause it's
names are
three first names.
Three first names.
That's hilarious.
Oh man.
And I'm excited that Brian is here. So thank you so much for Brian for being in the studio with us. Miles, you could have been here if you were sleeping, buddy.
Well, he said, but he also says he doesn't know. He has to get approval from the host of the
You're
segment.
always trying to take
So-
up for Miles. I
Well,
love
no,
you
that's
for
what he
that,
said because
but
somebody else asked him.
Whatever, Miles.
No, whatever, Miles.
Who
You
said
called
that?
me Miles.
No, I'm saying that in case he's listening or when he listens
No,
later.
we had a conversation with someone that was tuning into the show and they saw him on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they recognized him from the radio show. And they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you're Miles."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Isn't this dude
Miles, you're
blowing
my
up?"
baby. You're always welcome.
But he's blown up.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Okay."
I watched the show the other day. Like, he wouldn't tell me in Dalton when he was on, right? I'm like, really? I'm feeling a little bit, some kind of
that's
way
funny.
that you're leaving us out. But okay, but we got to catch his show. That it
You
was
need to
so
set your
good.
notifications on so
Yeah,
whenever he goes live,
I did that day, yeah. But he went old school. He played all the 90s old school, and I invited a bunch of people. And so he had like 10 people.
Okay.
So the only thing is he didn't address the crowd. So I was like, hey, Miles, can you
Oh,
give us
now
some shout outs
hold
and
on,
say
wait.
something to
That's
us?
Brian's job.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Are you doing Brian's job? Brian's like, hello, that's my job.
Yeah, I'm like,
Hello.
I told him that
What's
if he went live from the platform, then that's on. Like, Miles, you gotta talk to the people, things like that. Come on. I started when he did. Oh my gosh, IMIX. When he started doing IMIX, I was like,
Right.
Miles, smile.
Yeah.
Because he would just be talking. I'd be like, Miles, just like this. But
So
he's
he did
getting
smile
there.
at us. He was excellent. The music was like kicking. He was just doing it. Yeah. So we were proud of him.
Oh, so it's mother approved, huh?
It is.
Okay.
It's mom approved. So far, so good. Because I will definitely send a thumbs down. Well,
Okay.
no, he played OPP, and I was like, wait, what do you know about OPP? But he wouldn't respond. He just looked at, he just gave me the smirk.
He has to know all the music. He has to know all the genres of music.
He don't know nothing about OPP.
He's a global DJ now.
I know that's right.
Yes,
but
indeed.
so you want to do some shout outs real quick, and then we're going to get to the topic.
Yes,
okay.
definitely.
So some people have been waiting very patiently.
Yes.
So let's see. We have J. Antoine Minor Sr.
Hey.
Hey, family.
You get a ding.
And so we have J. Antoine again said, hey, family. Stacy Simfukwe. Hi, Stacy. She says, hello, beautiful.
You get a
Hey,
ding.
Stacy.
Michael Alexander Chasen. He says, hello. Hello, sir.
Hello,
Mike.
Unc.
Michael Stewart says, hey, crew.
Hey, Michael.
You get a ding.
And Michael Alexander says, happy birthday, nephew. I'm guessing
Really?
that's Brian.
He's your uncle?
Not really.
Okay.
Me and Michael have
And
this
then-
running joke.
Oh, I understand.
Okay, and then Michael
Okay.
Stewart says ruby red lips today. Michael,
Ruby
we can
red.
always count on you to go off topic.
Go on, Michael.
You get a
Which you
ding.
do fit right in with
Stay
the whole
focused.
thing. Mac Reddick says salute. Hello,
Hey, Mac.
brother. Salute
You
to you.
get a
And
ding.
Ms. Miko says hello, everyone. Hi, Ms. Miko.
Hey,
And
Miss Miko.
I don't know, has
You
she
get a
had
ding.
the Natural Hair Expo, or she's in the process
Well, no,
of planning?
actually,
Hasn't
they're
happened yet,
working
right?
on their Caribbean Festival, which
Got it,
happens
okay.
in June 16th
Okay.
and 17th, Father's Day weekend.
Cool.
It's coming up.
Awesome.
Yeah, so listen to the radio station. We're definitely rocking the promo, and we're supporting that event. So
Will
looking
do.
forward to that.
Cool. And then she also has the annual Natural Hair Expo
Yes.
coming up as well. So
Mhm.
shout out to you, Ms. Miko, giving you
Yes,
a
indeed.
quick plug. So let's get down to business.
And real
Isaac.
quick,
Okay.
Stephen Dalton, Leviticus
Yes.
Charlotte
Hey,
is
Stephen.
saying hello, Ray Thomas O'Neill, Dr. Carter, and
Hey,
show guest.
Stephen.
That would
Hello.
be you,
We love and
Hello.
appreciate
Isaac.
you, brother.
Hello.
hello
Yes,
from
indeed.
Isaac, Reggie, and Alan.
Yes, indeed.
right.
All three of them.
I'll treat them,
Uh-huh.
folks. Yeah.
Three names for your
Masha
names. You say Masha Tubb?
Masha Tubb. So let's get to it. So Isaac, tell us, when you sent me the topic, I loved it because even though since we started this new year, I've been trying to focus on just really doing things that help boost men and help encourage and empower, enlarge, and equip men. And so I didn't want to just make it about the men, but I do think it's so important that men think about finances. And the reason I think that is because you're the head. You guys are the head of the homes. You're leaders. Even if you're young men, you are in charge of your life. And it's just so important. I believe that men should always have money in their pocket. I don't know if you were taught that when you were growing up, but I just think it's a good thing that men can be self-sufficient. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there to let the gentlemen know. And then women also, I want to share with you that it's important that you be self-sufficient and have your finances in order, because a lot of women, in my mind, are still looking for someone to take care of them, but it's our responsibility to create wealth for ourselves and to be independently self-sufficient.
That's correct.
What do you think?
I definitely agree with all that. I
Yeah.
mean, being self-sufficient and being able to hold your own financially is always a must. I mean, that's really kind of what started me. If I go back and look at the vision, how I first started in all this, I got a job right out of college. I'm sitting in a room, and all these other gentlemen, they were all white gentlemen, they were talking about stocks and bonds and everything. I had no idea what they were talking about. No idea. So I had to go out and read and research and then just kind of get started on my own. And that's kind of where part of the reason I got in this business was to help others. I think that we're in a similar situation to myself, to be able to go out there and get started and be able to do it in a fashion that someone's not going to be able to trying to take advantage of and really try to teach them, I think, the right way to invest and get started.
Amen. Well, we're excited to have you here today because you always bring a wealth of information. And so I just want to start out by sharing this quote from a Forbes magazine article I read today, and it says, "You are your own biggest asset." You are your own biggest asset. And so as we get into our conversation about paying yourself first before doing anything else, why is that important? Why should people have a savings plan? Because that's ultimately what we're talking about today. And we don't mean a savings plan per se as in a bank account. We mean a plan for savings, a plan to save, correct?
Correct.
Why is that important?
It's important because you never know what's going to happen tomorrow, and you want to be self-sufficient. And especially out there as black families, one of the things I think is starting the savings plan. We're going out reading this study. It was done back in 2016, and it said that less than 2% of black families are millionaires compared to 15% of white families. Now that's when you try to put that in terms, that means 1 in 50 African American or black families are millionaires compared to 1 in 7 white families. And you say, wow, that's a big difference. Now, the question often comes as, why is that the case? Why is that the case? And part of it has to do with home ownership and the equity that we have in the homes, the amount of investments we have, and then the inheritance. And those are things that black families do not pass along.
So can we just talk about that just briefly? Because you and I were talking about that in the green room, and that was something that, we're kind of talking through this article that Isaac shared, and it's by the Triennial Survey of Consumer Finances is the article that you're referencing, I believe,
That's
or that
right.
those numbers. And so it just has here stating that blacks stay in the same home or lose the home. So why do you think that is? And, just even in light of the last comment you just made, why do you think that we don't leave an inheritance and that we don't stay in our home or that we lose the home?
Well, you often heard of, people say, hey, this is a starter home. Mm-hmm. And what the article went on, or one of the things I read about, was that, blacks kind of come in and just stay in the home, stay there, whereas whites kind of say, hey, here's a piece that we're going to use for an investment or leverage. We're going to get this starter home, probably buy something maybe even smaller, more in their means. Mm-hmm. And I think that's always important, buying a home that's within your means. And because if you're just starting out, your ability to grow and invest in yourself, you're going to have much more earning potential further down the road. So as long as you don't buy too big, first of all, so that you can still save and be able to have money to still live that lifestyle, that's the key. And I think that's what happens with a lot of African Americans or blacks. They buy a home too big, they can't afford it, and then they end up losing it.
Mm-hmm. So when you say live within your means or below your means, there's a book called The Millionaire Next Door. I'm sure you've read that. It's an oldie but goodie, I think. But it shares how in The Millionaire Next Door, the author talks about the fact that most millionaires live well below their means. And so they're able to have disposable income and money to invest and things of that nature. So what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, definitely. Having that disposable income or income that you can put on different sources, like being able to travel, being able to invest. And a lot of people say, well, I don't have any money to invest. That means, hey, you aren't living within your means. You've got to be able to invest. And a lot of time clients come in, I say, do you have a budget? They say, no, I don't have a budget. Do you think a big corporation would be out there without a budget? The answer is no. Do you work for a company? You think they have a budget? Definitely they have a budget. So you should too. Having a family budget or having a budget out there is kind of key to being able to do all this. And one of the things they say, well, I want to be able to save and not really create that budget and have a little bit more freedom. I said, well, the key to that is paying yourself first. Carve off some way of paying yourself first, whether that's being by having a direct deposit coming out of your paycheck or having some type of savings. And I know a lot of us maybe work for a company that's large enough, may have something coming out of our 401k or something like that. But I mean, savings other than that should also be coming out. You should have a goal of at least 10%. I think 15% is probably a more accurate goal to be really trying to achieve, to be out there, to really be self-sufficient. And if you start that early on, you'll be able to do that.
So let's talk about, I think we've talked about this just briefly before, how when I used to work for a company, they matched. So whatever you put into your 401k, they would match. But even beyond, that's talking about investments. But what you're saying really is just start putting money into a savings account, like having an automatic deduction from your checking account that's 15% of your gross or your net.
I'd say being in 15% of your gross. Start out with just the goal of 15% of your gross and putting that aside. And then, the first thing you're going to do is try to get some type of emergency fund, something to fall back on. When you puncture 2 tires on your car and you have to go ahead and say, hey, I can't get them patched. I got to really buy new tires. You'll be able to go there. You don't have to go to the credit card. You don't have to go somewhere. You have the savings to be able to do that. And then once you have that emergency fund, you can really start to invest. And that's one of the things I think in being able to have that economic gap, having a home, having a savings. And that's one of the big things that, most African Americans and blacks don't have, is that actual investments. And I am kind of talking about that because if you invest in the stock market, the S&P 500, since 1926 has returned over 10% a year on average. That's a powerful, powerful tool, that 10%. And then going out there, and yes, there's going to be ups and downs, but we have to invest in there to be able to get that to move forward. And I think that's kind of the key.
So I'm going to do the plug for you because I know it's better when somebody else boosts you up. But that's why I believe it's important to meet with a certified financial planner and somebody that can help you look at the entire gamut of your finances. And that's why we continue to have Isaac on the show, so that you can learn that there's someone out here that you says you don't have to own a fortune to make one. Isn't that your motto? That you have to have a fortune to make a fortune.
You don't have to have a fortune to save
for one. Yeah. Okay, so I think it's important that, as you guys are listening and watching, that Isaac is out here, that there are people that can help us begin to start with the basics, make a budget, understand the importance of a budget, set up a savings plan, set up investments, explain to us about stocks. So let's kind of get back to the study or the survey that we're talking through. And one of the things that it says, Isaac, is that black boys who grow up in the nation's wealthiest families are more likely than their white counterparts to live in poverty as adults. Wow.
Yeah, now this is actually a new study. I didn't list it, but one of the new things that just came out here in 2018 is saying that, is it class or is it race? And what came out is that even affluent blacks, people who were born to affluent black boys, they're likely to have less income or be lower on the class scale than their parents. And the question is why?
Right.
Why is that? And even the study went on to say that someone from this top 1% family, being millionaires, they were a black male was just as likely to be incarcerated as a white boy that was born with a family of $36,000. So I mean, $36,000 compared to someone in the millionaire class. That tells you it's a lot more than just the class that's happening. So being out there, and race is important. So if you're an African American male going out there and trying to get these finances in place is kind of key. But also being able to hold on to them, to be able to pass this down to the next generation is key, because that's one of the things that really doesn't happen for our families, is being able to say, hey, we were able to go and acquire some wealth, and then we're able to pass them down, whether that's the family home, family land, in a way that they can use, and some type of inheritance that they can go ahead and get started.
I think that's true. We're not always legacy minded, and that's kind of what I think about when other families, when I say other, I mean non-African American families, I've heard will set insurance policies on themselves so that when they die, the children gain that insurance policy money, so that establishes wealth for them. Or we pass the family home down, but what often happens is we don't pay the taxes up on the family home, so then it ends up either being taken or we just let it go. So now we've given that land wealth away. And so I think it begins to speak to us having to have a wealth mindset and a different mindset. But I would love to hear from you guys, Ray and Brian, as a 20-something-year-old, Ray as a 50-year-old, and those of you that are listening, we have some comments on the line, but I think it's just such an important conversation that we really begin to think about being African Americans who are wealthy. And wealthy, we talk about just that it's possible. And that's one thing I always ask Isaac, is it too late? And is it possible? And your answer is always what?
Yes.
It's possible.
It's possible.
Oh, I thought you was, yes, it's too late.
No.
Maybe I didn't ask it right.
Give you a ding, Isaac.
Ding me for not asking it right. But it's a possibility.
Late.
It's not too late.
It's not too late.
And
you have to start saving, and then it's always, you have your goal, and then you have to say how much you have to save. The earlier you start, the less you have to consistently save. And I always tell people it's always about that consistency,
right?
Being consistent. And that's why I say start paying yourself. And I know I don't want to jump on anybody else's toes, but when I started out in my 20s, that's when I started my first savings plan. It was one for $25 a month, and just consistently going $25 a month. And as I got pay raises and other things, I increased that amount, started saving in other ways. But when you start out, people always say, well, the stock market is a gamble or it's a roller coaster. It is, but it's a great way to return wealth that's consistent, that we can all try to get into, and it doesn't take a lot. Like if you want to go into real estate, people say, wow, yeah, you can do that, but it takes quite a bit of money. To get into the stock market, you can go out and buy some stocks and get in there, and you can get in there for maybe a few $100s, whereas real estate, you're never going to get in there for.
And you don't put all your money. You don't put all your money into one thing. Wouldn't you say diversity is important, or what do you think about that?
Diversity is important, but when you're first starting out, you just got to start somewhere. So if you have the funds to be able to go out and get diversified, don't let diversification hold you back. Go through and just start out with something simple. My first stock that I ever bought was Duke Power, just because it was easy. I could get it, and I could get it without a commission. And because I was a Duke Power customer, they said you could write up a letter and buy it, send them a check, and they would put you in.
Okay.
And that was my very first stock, and that's how I got started. So the question really isn't, hey, let me try to get perfect. Just get started. And the great thing I always tell people is that when you're just starting out, you're going to learn so much more. You're going to make some mistakes, but that's a mistake you'll make that you'll never forget. I made some mistakes back in the 80s. I still remember. I won't make that mistake again, and I can pass that on to my clients and customers now.
So you say just get started, and I say just get educated. so just get educated, begin to understand your finances, begin to understand the importance of a savings plan, talk to professionals. But let's hear from Ray and from Brian. You guys have any thoughts about just what we're talking about?
Waiting to hear from us,
importance
right,
of having a plan. Yeah, I definitely want to hear from you guys. Exactly. Speak it in Jesus' name.
That's why I'm going to the rich kid first.
Yes.
Okay, well, as the rich kid, I think it's just...
You better say thank you, sir. No.
Thank you, sir.
Receive that blessing.
He's been calling me a rich kid for about a year and a half now.
Okay, cool.
But I think just as a college student, period, it's just like these are statistics we don't always hear about. Like when you said first the 1 in 50 versus 1 in 7. It's like we hear about these things in families. Like we know a lot of black families aren't as rich as compared to white families. It's like we hear it all the time, but it's like, what are we really doing about it? Like, what are we really trying to do differently than like for ourselves? It's like, okay, well, like I know this is a statistic, but what can I do differently to try and make that not as big as it is? Because you hear it and it's like, oh man, that's sad, but we don't really put anything towards it to change it. So I think it's like, as a college student, you know, as you were talking, saying like save and invest and things like that, it's good to start early. And like you were saying, it's never too late to start. And you're saying you started in your 20s. Some people start, as Larry was saying, he said some people like own their own business when like 16. So I was like, it's never too late, and it's always good to, like you were saying, Dr. Carter, get educated about it. So
that's so good. I love the comment. Thank you,
Go
Brian.
on, rich kid. That's
and
what I'm talking about.
What it made me think about, well, first and foremost, what Ray said about being a rich kid, and I think it's important that I always hear so many people, especially African Americans, we're not harping on black people. We're trying to help our people get educated. You know, so I hope you're proud of me today, Larry. But if you can hear me, no, I'm just kidding. But the importance of again having the right mentality. But I hear people always say, "I'm broke." I'm broke. And as long as people continue to say that over themselves and over their finances, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy because it's a mentality. And so there's a scripture that I began to just speak over our finances, and because that, for me, everything is related to that. But it's Psalm 112:3. I believe it says, wealth and riches are in our home. Wealth, riches, and honor are in our home. And there's one in Proverbs, our vats overflow with new wine. Because if you think about that time period, the vat overflowing with new wine represented wealth, and it represented the newness of God. So I think it's important that we change our conversation about money and not be afraid of it. But something that Brian said, and I hope Miles wouldn't mind me sharing this, is we were talking, he's home for the summer. And so when Brian was saying as a 20-year-old, how do we do that? Well, Miles doesn't totally like to cook. And so I said, well, I want you to get used to cooking for yourself. You know, I've taught you how to cook or what have you. So I said, what is your plan? And he said, well, I'm thinking about going to this place called Clean Eats where you can, you know, order meals or what have you. But I said, that's
selling out.
Yeah, sell out. No, I'm just kidding. I said, well, that's great, but that's not financially savvy. Because if you're going to pay $5, five meals is $38. You could buy groceries that will last you for an entire week and have like breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks for possibly that amount or a little bit more. And so I want you to begin to think about keeping your money in your pocket, having a meal plan, learning how to cook. So all these things are symbiotic. And then, you know, he works a part-time job. So I think about, Reggie talked about 15%, but then I read the article in Forbes, and it was saying 5%. So you think about a 20-year-old, if they got $100 a week and put 5%, that's not a lot of money, but over time that will add up, right? So anywhere from $5, $10. So if you're young, then $5 or $10, you're not going to miss that. You know, 20 might feel a little bit, you know, sharp for somebody that's struggling, trying to put themselves through school. But I think it's just important to begin to think about, how can I start small at 20? But let's do some comments real quick, because somebody asked a question that lines up with what we're saying. And Farrah Fryer said, for people...
What's up, Farrah?
She said, for people in the comments, thank you for watching. She said, has he posted his information?
Yes,
so
we have.
We put his information out there. He's with Stalwart, the owner of Stalwart Financial Planning. His name is Isaac Reginald Allen, and you can find him at www.stalwartplanning.com. Brian Barber says he shared the notes, create emergency fund, plus invest in stock, plus set up investments and meet with a financial planner. So thank you so much for summarizing that. Stephen Dalton says those stats are mind-blowing. They really, really are. And so, Reggie, this is for you. Farrah said, what is the best financial advice you'd give to a person in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s?
Okay.
All of them. She's attempting to make up for lost time.
In the 20s, when you're younger, you can be more aggressive, and the biggest thing there, I say, is go and invest in an index fund or something like that, and put it in there and forget it. You just let it go. And then I often talk about things like dividend reinvestment plans or DRIPs, dividend reinvestment. Get involved in those dividend reinvestment plans. And then as you move up the chain, it's still to an age is to maybe get a little more conservative. Think about being in some more bonds than always just equities. You always have to have some equities out there, but it's always still, as you get older, you have to be a little more savvy about how do you carve out that budget and things that you're going to do. And I always tell people, remember, you can't take a loan to retire. You got to think about retirement. So if you're thinking about all those things you have to put in place, you get a family, now you got children, you got other things. You can take a loan out to buy a car. You can take a loan out to go send your kids to school. You just can't take a loan to retire.
Yeah.
You can't. So you got to always think about that and just do a balancing act. And it really becomes more of a balancing act as you age. But you always still have to have a savings. And even someone who's in their 90s and they may be going through, unless they're totally everything there, they still need to have some investment in some stocks and equities, but you just have to balance it out as you get a little bit further along.
If you're not dead, you need a savings and some investments is what I hear you saying. And so can you maybe do some quick definition for us, because I know everyone doesn't always understand the terms. So what does index mean and what is dividend reinvestment?
Index is like you hear on the news, the nightly news, you have the Dow Jones Industrial Average, you have the S&P 500. The S&P 500 is an index. And the great thing about that is that it's 500 stocks. So if you buy an index fund, you will get all 500 stocks. So you get instantly diversified. And the great thing about it is it's not stock picking. So the 500 stocks don't change every other day or every other month. So a person can invest in those 500 stocks very cheaply, as opposed to paying someone to be a stock picker or to maybe a hedge fund that's maybe trying to get a lot more. So the easy thing for index fund is they're usually cheap, low cost, and no load, and then their return is on average a little over 10% a year.
Cool. And dividend reinvestment?
And dividend reinvestment plan is just like it's a stock. They pay dividends. Instead of taking those dividends and going out and buying a pizza, take those dividends and buy more stock. So it becomes, the interest that you're receiving becomes compounding, and that's where real the power is. And so when I talk to my classes, I said people always ask, Isaac, how do you get wealthy? I said, the way you do it, it's that you have to invest. It takes compounding interest and time. Mm-hmm. So the great thing about being younger, you have that time, mm-hmm. and you have the power of compounding to really be able to go through it. So it's like if you want to earn, if you have $100 and you get a dividend of $1 and you let that work for you, next time you'll get the dividend not on just $100, you get $101 worth, mm-hmm. and just keep reinvested, and eventually it'll be compounding quite a bit.
Cool. So I shared some reference tools, because there are some really great books out there for those of you that like to read, or if you are into audio books or things of that nature and you want to educate yourself. And so one of the books that's listed in this article that Isaac shared with me is called The Wealth Choice by Dr. Kimbrough. And I think the foreword is by Napoleon Hill in the book, and I can't remember Napoleon Hill's book. Think and Grow Rich, I believe is the name of his book. So Think and Grow Rich is a great resource. Dr. Kimbrough's book, Wealth Choice, and the subtitle is Success Secrets of Black Millionaires. It's a great book. I'm halfway through. Reggie and I talked about that. I got to finish because it was really good, and it talks about those mindsets that we talked about. So do you have anything you want to share specifically about the book, or it was just something they referenced here in the article? I definitely wanted to get on the Black Enterprise magazine.
But one of the things that they referenced in the book, at least by Dr. Dennis Kimbrough, was that Black Americans, they have part of the wealth that everyone else have of the wealthy families. They have homes, they have cars, they have savings, they have debt. The only thing is we just have it in smaller amounts, and we need to increase those amounts, and especially the pieces that home ownership and the equity we have in our homes, the savings that we have, and then being able to pass on that inheritance. And then that's how we're going to be able to bridge that that wealth gap, and then be able to pass it along to help our kids out.
Okay. And so one of the things that the Black Enterprise magazine article shared, and I want to hear from maybe those of you listening, is that blacks are 6 times as likely to buy Mercedes-Benz as whites. Blacks who purchase Jaguars have income 1/3 less than whites who purchase the same vehicle. Why do we do that?
I don't know, style.
Why do we do that?
I think
because those are status symbols, and we want to that status symbol implies that we've made it, you know, and it now, so I thought about when Reggie and I were speaking, I was married previously, we had the Mercedes-Benz, I had a Rolex, they were both financed. So I think about the stupidity of, you know, on my part, I won't put it out on my ex-husband, but I thought about that, like, there were times we couldn't even eat. There were times we couldn't afford groceries, but we had a Mercedes sitting in the driveway and we had Rolexes on our arms. And I thought, how stupid, how foolish is that? And so having said that, I was sharing with Isaac that one of the things I've noticed is that people get those luxury vehicles, but they don't weigh the cost. And even the Bible says that no man buys a field and doesn't weigh the cost. So what is the maintenance? The maintenance on a Mercedes is gangster. Like, it's ridiculous. It's $600 at least for, I think, the tune-ups or whatever. A Jaguar, the same. So people buy the vehicle, but they don't think about how much is it going to cost me to maintain it and repair it, because they're going to break down. They're not a great investment. Automobiles are not a great investment. So I just want us to think about our mindsets. Why are we buying that? You know, is it because we really want it, or what's the intention behind it? Because it's not always the best thing to do.
And that's why I think the power of pay yourself first is kind of key in all this, is that if you pay yourself before you buy the Mercedes or before you buy the Jaguar, your investments, that's something that's going to be positive towards the end that you're going to be able to do. And so that's going to allow you, if you still have the funds to be able to afford that and do that, I mean, it's more likely you're going to be able to provide that maintenance and everything else that you need if you're paying yourself and have that savings in case you need some type of repair.
In advance.
Right. In advance. Because if you're continuing to save that 10, 15%, 5%, whatever, it's gonna compound. You got time. You still got time going along, and you're getting better off to be able to go out and do other things. And who knows, one day you might be able to pay pure cash for that Mercedes or for that Jaguar.
That's one thing I do love. I want to give Miles a shout out. He's listening, or when you listen later, he paid cash for his first car this year, and we were so proud of him, because you don't hear that. Dalton and I, we talk about Miles. He doesn't know, but you know when you go back and listen, we love you, buddy. That we talk about you all the time and how he's so much further ahead than we are. At 19 going on 20, we weren't paying cash. Right, my mom and daddy bought my first 3 cars, you know, and I probably crashed 2 of them, you know, because I didn't invest it. It wasn't my money. And I look at him and how he paid cash, and he's just such a great steward over it. So it just is huge when you can be debt free. You know, debt freedom is amazing.
He says, "Oh, I'm listening."
Okay, cool. We'll keep
but let me say this though. But you also have to take, you and Dalton have to take credit for that though.
Yeah, I think so too.
You understand what I'm saying? Because you guys have empowered yourselves to get that knowledge. So in getting that knowledge, and that's what Larry was talking about early on, segment number 1, is that, you know, the first 5 years of your child's life, those are like the most formative years. So why wouldn't you do, you know, most of the educating then? And so it just goes to show you that you guys, what you guys are doing, how you're sowing into your son, it's paying off.
To God be the glory.
And I think sometimes we like overlook that.
Yeah.
You know, and you say, "Man, I'm so astonished that he's so further." Yeah, but so you guys are great coaches.
You hear that,
That's
Miles?
right.
I got him at 10.
It's true.
Dalton had him up to 9. I got him at 10.
It's true, because you want to, we all really are, standing on the shoulders of giants.
Yeah.
And, if you can go and stand on those shoulders and kind of go forward. And I often think about that, ancestors and what, my life is what they wanted us to be able to live, and so be able to go through and then just to be able to do that better.
Right.
I mean, I get emotional sometimes.
It makes me want to cry to hear you. I literally feel tears when you said that, because our ancestors were wealthy. Our ancestors are not poor and broke and starving. If you think about if you go say our African ancestors, they were wealthy. Reggie and I were talking, and Ray, you were there that night. We watched Wilmington on Fire, and Reggie referenced the book that talks about the same thing. I don't recall the name of it. But,
We Have Taken the City.
We Have Taken the City is the first American coup where whites in Wilmington took all the wealth from the blacks in Wilmington. So now if you go back, and I'm just sharing what's on the documentary, so if you guys get up in arrears, that's on you. But if you go into Wilmington now and you see the African Americans there, it's all poverty when you first drive into the city. But if you go back 4 to 5 generations, they were wealthy. They were business owners. They were doctors, lawyers. They owned the newspaper. And so we didn't come from poverty. That is something that we inherited, and we can't, so we've got to break out of that. It's a right.
That's what I'm thinking of as well too. Is that, so how did we get here? Is it the conditioning? Is it the training? And when I say the conditioning and the training, because we're part of the media, So that's a lot of the conditioning and training.
About how we spend.
Yeah.
And what we think. But I think it's a deeper root than that. I was talking with Apostle Hicks, our pastor, the other day, and she was talking about just these mindsets that we have. So I really do believe that it has to do with us uprooting some mindsets and some false beliefs that we have. But I want to share biblically, too, that if you believe in Christ, which I do, that we're part of the Abrahamic covenant, and that promise, wealth is a promise of the Abrahamic covenant. And so, again, poverty, it does not belong to us. And so that's why, Isaac, I think that you're so important to what we're doing here, not even on the RTVS Live, but just in life, that we have to have somebody to begin to show us the way forward. And you say we stand on the shoulders of giants, but now you're becoming that giant, and you are that giant that others will stand on. So you're just so important. So let's break it down for people, and you have it broken down very well. How do I begin to plan for savings and have a savings plan? What are the steps?
The steps, what I have is pay yourself first. That's the most important one. Set up just an automatic draft, or something taken right out of your check or pulled right out of your banking account that's going to go into some type of, maybe even a brokerage account. You can set up a simple brokerage account. Yes.
Let me ask you something, since that's the first point that you brought up, because when you say that, see, I think differently about paying myself first. I don't pay myself first. I pay the Lord first. Because I tithe.
That's fine if you tithe.
No, I understand, but I just wanted to say that, so that there is some sort of understanding, because if we're speaking from a spiritual base as well too, you're taught, or supposedly you're supposed to give the Lord his 10% first.
I agree, and then after that you pay yourself.
Yeah, okay.
And we're not taught to do that. We start paying our bills, and then we try to live off what's left.
Yeah, and then you say, okay, well, I have this little much left, and I'm gonna go ahead and give some.
Because usually what you come down, if you go through and just like tithes, you come down and say, oh, this is what I got left to give to church, or this is what I can't save this month because I had this other thing. Well, if you save, you wouldn't have all these other things coming.
I agree.
So you have to go through and you have to put that as a priority. I just say, just making that a priority. And so I usually just say, if you pay yourself first, or you put that up higher in the priority list from the monthly bills, paying yourself, putting that and just putting it away, even if it's just into a savings account, putting that there first. And then the second step is really try to invest in some kind of index fund. They're cheap. The S&P 500, there's ETFs out there. One that's called SPY, SPY. It's a spider. SPY is a great index fund to leave it. And then as you're starting to invest, leave it and forget it. Leave it and forget it. A lot of times we'll get there and we'll say, oh, well, something came up and I need to pull that money out. And unless it's a real emergency, you don't need to pull it out.
And it's because we didn't have that savings in place. We didn't have that 3 to 6 months of savings, right?
So put the money, put it there, invest it, leave it and forget it. And then you want to have your dividend reinvestment plan, where you're having the dividends coming out there, being there. You also want to participate in what's called dollar cost averaging. If you can buy some that month or that quarter, buy it. And then that's, really what the dollar cost averaging says, when no matter what happens, it's just kind of like your 401k. You purchase that every paycheck. And it doesn't matter whether the stock market is up or the stock market is down. Don't try to time the market. Just buy every time on a consistent basis. And with a dividend reinvestment plan, you take those 4 steps, put them together, you're going to have a savings plan. Now, the question is, people say, I don't have enough money, because sometimes they get into an investment, you need, $3,000 or something to get in one of these index funds. And like I said, when I started out really with $25 a month. I had one where I wrote this check. I mean, they didn't even have direct deposit. I had one, I wrote them a check out every month. I sit down, write bills, and I write them a check. It was called 20th Century Mutual Funds. I wrote them a check every month. And then you want to pay that, and even if you just have to set up a brokerage account and it's $25, you can set it up. And then when you have enough to buy stock that you want, let's say you like Nike, let's say you like Intel, say you like Apple, you might have to be saving for a little while longer, but you can go there, and once you get enough, you can buy that stock and you can participate in the market. And to go through and doing that. And then, purchase one share. I would recommend purchasing one share of an ETF, because you can hear about them and follow them very easily.
What's an ETF?
ETF, is electronic exchange, is exchange traded fund. And so they work just like a mutual fund, but they trade all during the day, and you can just buy it right off of the market for very low commission, and anyone can get in it. So just get your brokerage account, purchase an ETF, and then let your reinvested dividends do the drips. And what I always say is, let your dividends earn dividends, and let your interest earn interest. that's where you get to the power of compounding when you're doing that. So if you take those steps, even with $25, you can start a savings plan that will multiply for you, and eventually, if you want to be a millionaire, you can be a millionaire.
Well, so let's talk about how Stalwart Financial Planning can help with that, because that's what comes up for me is when you say all the terms, the ETF, the stocks, the drips, the index, of course I understand now because, Reggie is our financial planner, but I think about all that stuff goes over people's heads and it can be intimidating. And then side note, and then before you answer that, if I only have $25, I might feel some kind of way going to a certified financial planner. So, I'm just speaking to how people think. Like, that's intimidating to go to a certified financial planner, and I only want to do $25 a month. So can you speak to how can Stalwart Financial Planning help with someone who does have a humble amount to start with but really wants to start to build wealth, and how can you help?
Certainly. Let's say someone came to me, I always give a free consultation. If someone came to me and said, hey, I want to start a savings plan, and I really only have $25 a month. I could say, hey, this is how you can set up a brokerage account. Just start saving this. Just give them the paperwork. Say, set this up, start this, and then they can go out and do it, and it's free. It's on there. It takes no more than the time it comes to talk to me about it. And I come through, I can show them how to do that. It's really, or you can go online. One is TD Ameritrade. That's where go there, start an account. They don't have a minimum, and then you can set up right there, all online. Set up to have $25 a month taken out of your savings account, checking account on a regular basis, and contribute into that fund. It's that simple. You can do it now. Probably take you about 5 minutes. You can go to Charles Schwab. There's several others. You go to Fidelity. There's several other places you can go and do it. And even if you came to me, there wouldn't be a charge. I'll be glad to show you how to do that. I think it's beneficial because then once you get there and you want to start saying, I want diversification, I want how to start an IRA, I want to start other saving plans, maybe a SEP for this business I have, or start a 401k for this business, then I think you'd be more likely to come talk to me, and I'll be glad to help you out with that too.
And when I tell you that is one thing about Isaac that is so awesome, is that when you go to him, there is no dumb question, and he just makes you feel so comfortable with the whole process of understanding financial planning. And Dalton and I have been very appreciative of you and you being in our life. I mean, you just have been amazing to us. And so I just want to share with those of you listening, Dalton had asked me to share this before I left home about how when we started really trying to put our business together and do it the right way, one thing that we started doing was we opened a separate account for our payroll taxes, because a lot of businesses don't pay taxes or they don't understand their taxes. And so this is, to me, goes in line with what we're talking about here with Isaac, is that you have to even have a savings plan for your business, because those taxes are going to come due, and the IRS may forget about you for a little while, but you only have to look at the news.
They got short term.
And they will come find you. And so you want to begin to, every time you bring in money from a client, just take a small percentage, pay your tithes, as Ray shared, pay yourself a salary, and put some money aside. This is just my suggestion. I'm not telling you what to do, and Isaac may feel differently, but you need to put your money aside so that when those taxes are due, again, you're not scrambling, you're not taking out loans, you're not creating debt. And that is how you begin to be wise about your business finances. And the other piece I want to share is that you want to pay yourself a salary. It's important that you pay yourself a salary as a business owner, because you need a W-2 so that when you retire, am I correct in that? Am I saying it incorrectly?
No, you want a W-2.
Yeah,
everybody wants that
W-2.
paycheck that consistent. But
Yeah.
even some people who are just mom and pops, they don't necessarily do it. They pull it right out of the till,
Right.
as we call it.
Yeah.
Pull it out of the till. But even there, you can have some type of savings plan, whether you have just a SEP
Absolutely.
IRA, but some type of savings plan to do that. But technically, you want to be able to pay yourself a salary. And then sometimes, I know a lot of business owners come there and say early on they want to reinvest in their business. They pour it back into business, but they're taking that profit they're doing and buying new equipment or better equipment or a better storefront. And being able to do that is an investment, but you have to say, hey, how long can you do that, and how are you going to be able to still exist and live and drive and provide for your family? So you have all those things. It may be savings. Maybe you've been saving for this long period of time, and you've got this real great savings plan, and now you can look back on that savings plan and maybe say, that's going to carry me for the next few years while I get this business established. All those are great ways to do it.
And I think about, too, how when we were not paying ourselves a salary, and this is, again, just for the small business owners that are listening, it's very, what's the word I'm looking for, discouraging. You know, there were times we're like, man, we own a business. We can't even buy a cup of coffee. Like, we have not paid ourselves. So we paid ourselves as little as $5 just starting out. And then it grew every time we got bigger clients and more checks coming in. We would just pay ourselves a greater salary. But it's just the whole thing I want to leave anybody with today is just start. You know, just get started. But did you guys have any final comments or thoughts?
Yeah, well,
before we
actually,
wrap up?
there are some folks that have been actually. Jerome Cade said he was mentored by an up-and-coming millionaire in the early 80s. He starts his talks off by asking young blacks what they drive. They proudly say, I drive a Benz or a BMW. Then he shows them the foolishness of their decisions. And he said for years he drove a Dodge Colt, but he was buying strip malls around the city. His friends laughed at him, but now he does the laughing as he sits in his $1 million plus home watching the stock ticker making thousands day by day.
Amen.
Definitely so. Michael says, hello, Reggie.
Hey, Mike.
Also, Jerome Cade also says, I just had the expensive car conversation on today with a young IT guy. So it's like he's still paying it forward, right?
Yeah.
You know, and the same thing that you and Dalton are doing with Miles as well. You know, he also says, Dr. Patrice J. Carter always thinking for and from the common person perspective. Awesome. Definitely so. Also, I see Peter Wilkins is watching.
Hey, Peter. Thanks for watching.
Yes, indeed. Also, let me scroll down. Hold on a second. I'm waving at people now. Michael Monroe is watching.
Michael, thank you for watching.
Also, Robert L. Taylor Jr. is watching.
You get a ding.
Robin, thank you for watching.
All right. And I just wanted to shout those folks out. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure you go ahead and you share this video today as well, too, because it's a great conversation. And I think that, you know, this is one of the big conversations that we don't have when we're talking about African-American households. It's like speaking about money is like a taboo.
It is. People don't want people in their business, but you ain't got no business.
And you know what's funny? Let me say this because even let's say, for instance, because I'm a newlywed, you know, and if my wife was accustomed to taking care of her money business on her own and vice versa, so was I. But now when you're together, it's like you have to bring all that stuff to the table and you have to have, you know, an openness about it's like I can't have this secret account over here that you don't know about. It's like we're in this together. So that's really an important conversation that needs to be had. So Reggie, let me ask you, so how would you attack that newlywed couple like myself, you know, that are just, you know, we're together and we're accustomed to, you know, doing our own thing?
It's different for every couple, and you just really have to kind of find out how it fits. And I'll just give you the example. You know, my wife and I, when we first got married, I said,
Hi, Angie. Shout out to you, babe.
Yeah, Angela. We got there, and I said, I came from a household, and my mother handled the checkbook.
Right.
So I gave it to Angela. I said, hey, here, you handle the checkbook. But I've been out on my own a little bit, and so I come through, and every day I come home and said, how much money we got?
Just checking. I need to know.
I want to count my coins.
How much money we got?
Because, you know, I just checked the bank account and it's looking a little low.
No,
What are we
just
spending?
I used to go through it. I would know. In the middle, I would just
I'm
have
the same
it.
way.
And
I'm
then
counting
I would
like every day.
I would have to know. And then if it got below a certain level, it'll make me nervous. I think of everybody out there.
Exactly.
So each
Dolphins
day I would
like
just
that.
say, how much we got? And she said, I'm not going to have it. Here, you handle the checkbook.
Right.
And so we went through a different method to doing that. And for, you know, couples that kind of come in, and especially ones that have been through maybe a little older and have been handling their finances for a little longer, usually we set up kind of still keep their separate independence and then have a common piece.
Right.
But for a lot of people that's starting out, they're younger, just throw it all in the pot and just kind of let it go from there. And it really kind of depends on what each person can have, but I think usually you want to have some kind of common way to do it. I know some couples even break it out where they do other bills, but I like having a common pot if you have the independence, and then still having to be able to go out and do things. Because my wife, even though we have one big pot, one of the things she doesn't like is that sometimes if she goes through and she buys me a gift, I'll go through and I'll look back and say, "Whoa,
now
boy,
there's no surprise to it.
I
And then you got to get the lecture about it. Yeah, I'm not feeling
about that gift. I don't know
Angie,
about
I
that
feel you on that.
that gift. So that is one drawback to that.
So hold
And
on, have you given any gifts back yet?
Oh yeah, I'm giving because back. I'm taking them back. I said no, I'm not I'm not accepting that.
I would kick you all the way out of here.
I know.
You're fired, sir.
Because let me say this,
That's
my wife hasn't
hilarious.
given back any gifts yet.
I know, that's right. That is so funny, but I agree with what Isaac is saying because now I don't know where everybody else is, and this just works for Dalton and I, but we have a common pot where we pay the bills, but we each have our separate accounts because I feel like you have to have that mad money. They used to call it back in the day, mad money.
Because you cray.
Where you just, a little bit cray.
Okay.
Where you think that's a game? No. Where you can just go spend and it's disposable income.
Yeah, but your
paid
cray still
bills.
affects your husband.
It does.
Just
Well,
like his cray affects
I
you.
don't have cray.
All right.
You added that.
I'm just
we
saying.
have a good understanding.
Okay.
But I think about some couples where, again, this is where a financial planner comes in. And also, sometimes this is where counseling comes in because Dalton and I have been previously married. So when you think about someone that's gone through divorce can sometimes result in financial devastation because one spouse will try to kill the other spouse. Or when you think about people that, like, I may be the planner in the relationship, but my spouse is more artsy or artistic, or they're not so much thinking about finances, that can affect the marriage. So it's really important too to have these conversations prior to marriage, or once you get in and you see there might be some challenges, getting some outside assistance. I think is important, and having those important conversations because money is one of the top 7 things that brings marriages to its knees.
Yeah, so I think early on, if you can somehow establish a budget as a
Right.
couple and then say, okay, now here's the budget, how we're going to be able to control this, then I think it'll be difficult. I mean, Angela and I've had some big fights over trying to set the budget before.
We have too.
And,
Oh
and
my
then
God.
going
Dawn would
through
break out in hives.
and coming through and coming there, and I mean, they could be over simple things.
Yeah.
Over simple things. One was over just HBO. I mean, you would think
HBO gotta go.
that was my view. Man, I don't care.
Yeah.
But that was more
Like, I
important
don't need
to her
to
at
watch
the time.
Prison Break.
But over time, you think there's a lot more similarities. Over time,
Yeah.
been almost 29 years, but it's been so many
Wow.
more similarities in our spending than there are differences. So they're a lot easier to kind of come about now.
I remember Dalton, he brought me these beautiful purple pens because when I first launched my website, cheap plug, drpatricecarter.com, my colors were purple. And he bought me pens, and when I saw how much those pens cost, I went berserk. I went in because they weren't on the budget. They were not on the business
Did you give them
budget.
back?
I cut the fool over those pens. No, but I cut up so bad. I had to repent. I said, Dalton, I am so sorry because he just has in his heart, he just wanted me to be happy, and he was like, I was thinking about you, but he was only supposed to go to the store for ink and paper, and here you come out with some $10 pens.
you need a
The
pen,
devil
girl.
is alive. But I mean, it
$10
just
pen,
goes
huh?
back to what Reggie was saying. It's like, we have to kind of give and take, and I just ruined it. So
Well, my
I'm
wife
working
likes
on
to
my
take. Let me stop. I'm just kidding.
That's hilarious.
That was just a joke, but it's on the
just-
video,
Well,
right?
Yeah, hilarious.
Yeah, for a guy that's been married for a while, we know it was a joke. It wasn't a joke.
Exactly. But look, Reggie, Michael tried to put you out there. He said no chocolate milk. So
Oh, boy.
Angela loves milk. Like, I don't know if she drinks it as much now, but
Oh, yes, she does,
she's a
yeah.
huge milk fan by the gallon. So
Wow.
Okay.
Angie, make sure you budget for that. Jerome Cade says, wow, I am so connected to this conversation. A friend told me he didn't want people coming over to his new home because some rooms are not furnished. I shared with him what I saw from a young couple years ago when they bought their home. They laid newspaper on what was going where. They proudly showed the home and shared their vision of what was going where. Great topic, guys.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's so awesome. So
That's like a motivator too, though.
Yeah, I never thought about that. But after my divorce, true story, I had an apartment at Karen Lake's townhome, and nobody would come visit me because all I had was 2 stadium chairs with the drink cup holders to sit on, and literally nobody would come visit me.
Why does that sound like my goddaughter's story?
They wouldn't. And I'm like, we could sit on the carpet and just chill. I had food. I had a television, but they would not come because I didn't have a sofa. I didn't have a dining room table and chairs.
Yeah, my goddaughters and mom and I just had that conversation because my goddaughter's now living in California. She's following her aspirations to become an actress.
Nice.
And all that. But her apartment, she has like a blow up.
Yeah.
It's a nice apartment complex where she lives and everything, but there's no furniture in there. And she's young, so perception sometimes gets you.
It does.
But I'm like,
don't let it get you jammed up, sister.
But exactly. I mean, you're paying the rent. You're living in a gated area where you're safe and all that kind of stuff. So the furniture will come. Just do the work.
Do it in baby steps. I paid cash for all of my furniture. I didn't do loans. I just was committed to that. So Apostle Kate said she kept the pins but fussed.
Exactly.
We did not ask you for
exactly.
feedback,
That's
sir.
why I said you didn't give it back. At least Reggie gave his back.
That's what happened. Apostle Kate. Reggie only told us one story. He didn't tell us all the stories. No, just kidding.
Nah, Reggie seems like the guy that would give back all the gifts. Nah, baby, that's too much.
No. There's just some. I can think of a few.
So which gift did you keep?
Hilarious.
That's the one I want to know. Which gift did you keep?
Well, this was early on. One of the gifts, I was a big Prince fan, and she replaced all my Prince cassettes with CDs at that time. And so I accepted all of those.
Oh, nice.
I accepted all of those.
Yeah.
I accepted all of those.
You're like, this is how the song's supposed to sound?
That's hilarious.
I never meant to cause you any sorrow.
That's right. Never meant to cause you any pain. Just want to see it happen.
In the purple rain, hallelujah. Did you have the pants?
Oh, no.
Oh, you know what?
I know what pants. That's so wrong.
Reggie's so conservative. I knew he wouldn't have the back out pants.
You get a ding this afternoon.
No.
Just checking, Reggie. You know it's always the quiet ones. Just
the chaps.
Exactly.
The butler's chaps.
Yeah, I've got some chaps, but not those. Not the
butler's
Reggie
ones.
pushes a Harley, right? Am I saying it
wow.
right? So, yeah.
Oh,
but
man.
cool. Okay, so let's wrap up by letting people know how they can connect with you in the community, because that's one thing that is huge about Isaac and Stalwart Financial Planning is definitely he is within and out of the community. So he knows the community, he's part of it, and he's doing his part through an upcoming series to educate people within the community, in addition to allowing people to come to this office. So tell us what you have going on, where people can get educated about some of the things that we talked about, specifically one thing happening tomorrow.
Tomorrow I'm teaching a class actually at Fayetteville Technical College. I always want to call it something else.
Plug.
Yeah, so it's a community college there, and so it's a stock market basics. So it's a 2-hour class starting at 6. So you can go over to continuing education website and link there, and then be able. I think the fee is like $20 to get in, and you can come in, and they have sign-ups on the day of the class also.
But you're teaching other classes as well. This just happens to be the one you're teaching tomorrow, correct?
That's right. You can go there. You can also go to my website, stalwartplanning.com, and look under events, and it shows actually when I'm coming on the radio show again, and other classes I'm teaching, and then I do have some sessions that are online and some that are actually in the office.
So let's get your phone number real quick. How can people call you and get in touch?
Okay, here you can call me at 910-867-8464. Again, that's 910-867-8464. Or you can send me an email at iallen, IALLEN, at stalwartplanning.com.
Awesome.
And obviously, Brian is putting all that information
Brian,
up
thank you.
on the live feed as well, too, Global Peeps. And make sure you share this video as well, too, man. A lot of great information was talked about this afternoon.
Now, I do have a question, because there are people, Isaac, that are listening from outside of North Carolina. For instance, Apostle Kate is in Georgia, and some other people in, I think, Miami, Florida. So can you go outside of state lines? Can anybody call you from anywhere in the U.S. and you're able to offer assistance?
In just about every state here in the U.S. they can. There are some states there are limitations the way I'm licensed, but for the most part, there's any state that can. I think there's 4 states they cannot do that from, but for pretty much they can. And if they're from one of those states that can, I'll tell them up front, or I get licensed in that state.
Okay, I know that's right. Make your ends look. So let's wrap up maybe the conversation. Michael Stewart said, "Wow, let's go crazy." Whatever, Michael. He said, "Oh no, we had the chaps discussion." Jerome Kate said, "Thank you for sharing, Reggie." Brian, thank you so much for sharing the information that the class is tomorrow on stock markets, and it's at Fayetteville Technical Community College, beginning at 6 and ending at 8. Reggie, you shared Reggie's number and also his website and his email address. So thank you guys so much for watching today. I'm Dr. Patrice Carter, and this has been In Your Face and In Your Ear. So we're going to just kind of go around there one more time and have everyone leave the word that they're taking away. And so my word for today is start. I really want everyone to start. I don't care where you are. If you consider yourself to be poor, if you feel like you don't have it, please just start. $5. 5 is a number of grace. You can do it. So I say start. That's my word. What about you, Isaac?
Mine is DRIP.
Okay.
Dividend reinvestment plan.
Oh, that's
Love
that young,
it.
Really,
that's that
really,
young kid like, oh,
so let your dividends make dividends and your interest make interest.
Reggie, you're so hip.
all the young
Okay.
folks are like, oh man, he cool,
That's right.
cool, he dripping.
Mhm.
We out
Think
here
it's a
dripping
game?
today,
That's
too.
how we do on
Cardi
your
B
face
up
in
in
your
here,
ear.
Reggie. Bodak Yellow.
That's hilarious.
Okay.
He sounds like Miles
He's like,
Mouse.
okay,
He's
exactly.
like, okay.
Whatever. Don't hate on her.
Exactly.
Because she is making her
She
dividends.
is. She is.
Look, all from an Instagram or YouTube video, and now she's a millionaire. You got to start. That just goes back to what I said. Start. Not. I don't like her or love her. I don't have an opinion one way or the other, but it's just about starting.
Miles going to be on tour soon.
Yeah.
His agent, Ray Thomas, getting him on tour. I'm just saying.
Look at my
Miles.
face looking at the camera.
We took the camera off of you.
Exactly. Brian, what's your word?
He didn't even tell us.
He's like,
was
wait,
it.
what? Look at this
It's
face.
the word.
Brian's like, Miles going on tour for real?
Oh,
Exactly.
no.
I got
wouldn't
caught
tell
up too. But Brian, what's your word for the day? What are you taking away? If you had to just summarize today in one word, what would it be?
Fix. That'd be my one word, and it's kind of just fix the things that we know we may have a problem about. Like if we know we have a financial situation, fix it, or if we know we want to start these things, fix it and
Nice.
get it started.
I love it. Thank you. And thank you for your professionalism again. You've been wonderful. Thank you
Yeah,
for
he
being here
alright.
today. He is.
Whatever,
very
Reach.
Okay.
professional.
It's your birthday, man. Happy birthday.
Happy
you.
birthday.
Happy birthday.
Cake's in the mail.
No, come tomorrow. Isn't Stacy some food queen tomorrow?
Yeah, that's right.
Stacy, bring
See-
Brian some cupcakes
Yeah,
tomorrow.
cake
See?
tomorrow.
Yeah,
Stacey.
no pressure, but
right.
you should feel it right now. Some pressure.
No, bring him some. What's that drink? I don't. Kombucha.
Oh,
Yeah, bring
I
him some of
love
that.
kombucha.
I don't.
Oh.
It's
His face
nasty.
on Friday.
Really?
It's nasty.
Okay, carry on.
Yes. Anyways,
What's
my
your
word
word?
is
Yeah.
thankful, because I'm always thankful whenever you come on, Reggie, with the information that you provide to us, man. Because, like I said, there are a lot of people that it's uncomfortable for them to talk about finances. And to actually get to that point, so I love when you come on and you share the knowledge, and then our global audience, they can go back and rewatch the video and everything, man. So I'm really thankful that you always come on and you share some great advice, some great knowledge, and at the same time, Doc's always gonna, keep it in layman's terms as well too.
Yes, which is good.
And that's one of the fears that we all have, is because you hear S&P and all that kind of, and you
It's
don't know, but
intimidating.
you're not willing
Yeah.
to ask the questions. I'm the kind of person I'm like, hey man, what does that mean?
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm always thankful whenever you come on and you share this knowledge, man, because at the end of the day, I know that it's blessing somebody that's actually tuning in.
Okay, thanks.
So thank you,
Appreciate
man.
it.
Sweet.
And
Thank
so
you.
you having that opportunity out there for everyone. It's great. Thanks for that.
Yes,
Definitely.
amen. Thank
Yes,
you.
indeed. Amen.
Cool. Okay, so
Miles
I
on tour. Miles on tour 2020.
Let's talk offline. Okay, so
I'm just speaking into
the-
existence.
So the title of the article that I was referring to from Forbes, I think, is a great way to wrap this all up, and it says, "Are you paying yourself first?" So this is just more I want to leave you with this thought: Are you paying yourself first? The habits that can boost wealth. And so just as Reggie shared today, that you have to have a plan for savings, and you have to have a savings plan, and that wealth is within your reach. It is a promise that God left us, but it's also a manifested possibility, because Isaac is here. He has Stalwart Financial Planning. You have someone that can help you start the process, understand how to budget, get started, start saving, reinvest, invest. So there's no excuse to not start, because now you know. So we want to hold you accountable and challenge you. I'm challenging everyone that's listening this week to put into action one of the 4 steps that Isaac shared, and just reach out to us. Let us know by email or by Facebook that you started, so that we can come out and give you a shout out on the show and just give you a high five in the web world. So thank you so much for listening today. Thanks for joining.
Right around the corner, we'll celebrate birthdays before we call it a day, so don't you dare go anywhere.
More of the Ray Thomas Variety Show is coming up on BroncoIRadio.com.
Fayetteville, North Carolina, get ready. June 16th and 17th, Father's Day weekend, as NC1 Love Unity Association presents the 2nd annual Fayetteville Caribbean Festival. Saturday and Sunday, 2 days. Father's Day weekend at 606 Johnson Street in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Saturday, June 16th, from noon until 9 p.m. Enjoy a community of family, fun, games, and a variety of vendors. Caribbean food, live performances featuring Rowan the Great. Sunshine P. Sunshine P. Anne-Marie Fox.
I'll actually be performing in front of this big crowd.
Your MC, Ray Thomas. Also, a variety of Caribbean DJs. In the mix. And more. Ending with a Saturday after party at 10 p.m. on Father's Day. Sunday, June 17th. Get ready for the Father's Day edition. Reggae in the Park. Reggae in the Park from 3 until 9 p.m. Help us celebrate fathers in the community with family, fun, games, raffle, a variety of vendors, food, and Caribbean music. For more information, call 910-635-3641 or email nc1loveunityassoc@gmail.com. It's a Father's Day weekend you don't want to miss. Brought to you by NC1 Love Unity Association. Be there.
What would you do if you came up positive for HIV? I learned the value of my life from being diagnosed with HIV at 19, and I only found out about my status because I got tested. People are dying from HIV not because of the virus itself, but because they do not know that they are infected. Take care of yourself and stop lying to yourself. Stop making excuses and go get tested. For free testing, please visit your local HIV testing center.
Always keeping you in the know. We're BroncoIRadio.com. Proud to be. Do you need a custom cake or just want to satisfy your sweet tooth? Well, look no further because Buttercream Dreams Bakery is the place to get it.
Buttercream Dreams Bakery.
Sasha Collins is a passionate baker who takes pride in your satisfaction. Whether it's birthdays, baby showers, or simple gatherings, Buttercream Dreams Bakery is the place for you. And today, she's offering our BroncoIRadio.com listeners 10% off of your first order. Just let her know that you're one of Ray Thomas's global peeps, and you get 10% off your first order. I'm Ray Thomas, and I approve this message. To place your order, call Sasha Collins at 901-315-8556. That's 901-315-8556. Or email her at iwantbuttercreamdreams@gmail.com.
Buttercream Dreams Bakery.
901-315-8556. That's 901-315-8556.
Buttercream Dreams Bakery.
Now, back to the Ray Thomas Variety Show.
And it's that time of the afternoon where we celebrate the things that we call birthdays because we say birthdays are the first days. Yes, indeed. All right, it's time to celebrate the birthdays for this, the
4th of June.
Is it the 4th?
Yes,
it sure is. Wow. June 4th, your day. I guess you would know that, right?
Yeah.
Well, you know, 4 is my number. That's the number I rocked in college for basketball.
Okay.
So I'm always 4.
It's the, I can't show you the back of my jersey, but it's the number on my jersey.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir.
Oh, but it's 04.
I put it 04 because when I was little, I always had, when I was like doing Little League Baseball, they didn't have like 3, 04. Like, it was always like 03 or like 04.
Really?
So that's always the number I had.
So 04?
Yeah.
It's almost like the year 2004.
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah.
But I want to get another one that I just have like the one number on there because I realized it too late.
I think you've grown now.
Yeah.
You've grown out of the tyke numbers. Those
It's
are like
just
the little tyke numbers.
It's a throwback to when I was at home.
Yeah.
So it's an Oreo jersey, and then it's the number on the back. So.
All right. But you had that put on there
Yeah.
recently?
No, this has been on here.
Really? It's always been there? Okay.
Yeah.
It's missing one word, though. Because it says the kid.
Yeah,
It's missing
like,
rich kid.
Yeah. I got to get a new one. I'm going to get a new one. Like they said, I'm going to set myself a salary, and then I'm going to get myself one. So.
Yeah, definitely, man. Well, you know, my little gift is going to help you towards your wardrobe goals.
I would hope so.
So, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. That's like a little teaser.
Oh,
right
okay.
there. Yeah. I think you'll like it, though. All right, so let's celebrate these birthdays, man. Obviously, first you're going to start with your own birthday.
Yes, today's my birthday.
Shameless
Brian
plug.
Barber is celebrating a birthday today. Happy birthday, Brian.
Yes, indeed. Birthday dings all around. Birthday dings for you, brother.
And it's crazy because Jasmine's birthday is July 4th, too.
Oh, really?
So mine is June 4th and hers is July 4th.
Okay.
So,
all right. 1 month apart.
Right.
And she's going to be how old?
I think she'll be 21.
She's older than you, man.
I think so.
You're a young buck.
I think she'll be 21. I don't know. I just know her birthday. I forget how.
But who's older, you or Jasmine? You already know that.
That's a good question.
Wow.
I don't know.
Really?
I'll have to ask her. I think she's older than me. I'm pretty sure she'll be older than me.
Okay.
I'll have to ask for clarification. But
well, if she's older than you, obviously, because her birthday falls after yours, so
Yeah.
she must be. She's gonna be 21.
Yeah, she could be 21, or she'd be turning. Oh yeah, she'd be 21. Yeah.
She could be turning 20,
it wouldn't,
man.
It wouldn't make
then-
sense for her to be turning 20, so she'll
Yeah.
be turning 21. Yeah. Okay.
Well, Jasmine, clarify that. Go ahead and
Yeah.
tag her in this post.
I'll
man.
I'll tag her.
Yeah. How old are you, girl?
But Angelina Jolie celebrates her birthday
Oh, that's
today.
my girl right there.
Yeah, she turns 43 today.
Gee. My wife always says that. There's your girlfriend. I'm like, it's okay. Don't hate. Don't hate, girl. Don't hate.
And you know, because they just got, they had that divorce with Brad and Angelina. It happened like 2016.
Well, he's already back with Jennifer.
Oh, that was
Aniston.
cool. Yeah. But we don't know who she's with.
Who?
Angelina.
That's what I'm saying.
Who else? Russell Brand celebrates his birthday today. Quincy Brown celebrates his 27th birthday today. And Jeremy Bieber celebrates his birthday today.
Is that Justin's brother or something?
Yeah, his older brother.
And then his younger sister last week had a birthday too, right?
They're like all around the same time.
So they're popular just because of that last name, Bieber,
Yeah.
huh?
Pretty much. So
right.
I don't have any other Facebook friends that are celebrating birthdays today. I guess they all kind of reserved it for me.
Okay.
So,
All right,
that's all I got.
so let me take this opportunity. Hold on, let me put the camera on my. I'm gonna do my birthdays first, and then I'm gonna end up with a special tribute to someone. Hang on, let me rewind this music. So get my birthdays out the way. All right, so my celebrity friends that are celebrating birthdays today, obviously our very own Brian Barber celebrating his 20th happy birthday, young man. Also, Brittany Rogers. Happy birthday, the wife of Justin Rogers. Happy birthday, Britt, and many more. Also, Catherine Easton Saunders, my Cambridge homie. Happy birthday to you, my friend. Also, Rob Earth One is 25 years young today. Kimberly and Thomas Bates Ramos is celebrating her 47th birthday today. Happy birthday to you. Akil Taff. Happy birthday, my friend. Tom Etsy. Happy birthday to you, my friend. Also, Latoya Evans is celebrating. Tangi Ambrose. Fable in North Carolina's own. Tangi Ambrose. Happy birthday, girlfriend. All right. And so I wanted to everybody else celebrating today, may today be the best day of your life and many more to come. And happy birthday from all of us here at the RTVS Live. But I wanted to take this opportunity to get a moment of silence. Lost a dear childhood friend of mine this past weekend. At 3:15 Saturday afternoon, good friend Irv Doughton passed away. We've known each other since elementary school, man.
Wow.
You're talking like second and third grade.
Wow.
You know what I mean? He was definitely loved by many people. He inspired many people. He was part of the Artist Live Global Village family as well. We played basketball together in high school, and he played college ball. He also was an actor. So you've seen him in Eddie Murphy's movie. Which one was it? Boomerang?
Oh, I know.
Where he was, if you saw Boomerang and then you see the guy that's sitting in the ticket booth, that was my friend Irv. Also in the Damon Wayans movie where he played a boxer. I'm trying to remember the name of the movie, just to name some of the movies that he was in. He was part of Damon Wayans' boxing crew. But Irv just inspired many people, man. He was a great basketball player. He was a good father. He was even a great big brother to his younger brother, Aram Doughton. He'll definitely be missed, man. Gone too soon. And God has a plan for all of us, man.
Yes, sir.
And as I always say, man, make sure you tell the ones that you love them while you still got them around, because tomorrow is promised to no one. I know that this has definitely affected a lot of people, especially back home in my hometown of Cambridge, Massachusetts, man. You know, just the outpouring of the love that's going out to Aram and the Doughton family. Definitely our condolences and our prayers go out to the family. But at least he's no longer suffering. He's in no more pain. And I know that his legacy will live on through all of us that knew him and just knew the great person that he was, man. So I just wanted to do this for my good friend Irv Doughton. Rest easy, my brother. All right, so here's the birthday song. But before I do that, let's take a moment of silence for my man, Irv Doughton. All right, there you go. Thank you very much. And here comes the birthday song. For those that are celebrating.
Happy birthday.
Sing along if you know the lyrics. Happy birthday to you. Oh, to you. You said to me? No one else deserves it more than you do. You're supposed to say I do. Oh. Today is my day. Sing it, Brian. And I want to say, what you want to say to yourself, Brian? Happy birthday, hey, hey. That's all we gonna play. All right, there you have it. All right, for
the intern, Brian Barber.
This is the heavyweight Ray Thomas in your my place, just in your ear and on your radio, BroncoIRadio.com. Make sure you tell the ones that you love them while you still got them around, because tomorrow is promised to no one. As usual, Howard Hewitt, Say Amen, takes us home. Listen to the lyrics. It's something I live by. Kiaka Hana Kiaka means I'm always thinking about you. Until then, we say peace. The beam, the bridge, the bay, it's a B. Don't get it twisted. Bye-bye, everybody. Be blessed. Be the change you want to see.
Bye-bye.